So, Julian, you're looking at Stationery and Office Supplies. Their second quarter financial results are out. Are they feeling the same pinch that JetCon and other industries are feeling? How did they do?
Okay.
Interestingly, their name is SOS, their acronym. In the meantime, Deco says market badman, but people would take them last and go party it out. Roswell says, yeah, I know persons who buy from Japan. It's reasonable. Remember, car dealers buy from Japan to make profits. And then we have Ricardo commenting on JPS, saying most times JPS give estimated bills. So when solar systems are installed, normally it's recommended to contact JPS and request real bills. They're not allowed to give more than 2 estimated bills a month, back to back. So consecutively, that's the word I'm looking for. They're not allowed to give more than 2 estimated bills consecutively. So Julian, I think your presentation is up now. You can go ahead.
So I'm just going to talk about the growth that the company was experiencing post-pandemic and where it is now. So we would have seen supernormal growth for 22 and 23 to some extent because of the post-COVID recovery. The 3-year average growth rate in terms of revenues is 35.6%, while their current growth rate is 23.2%. And as we know, the supernormal growth would be baked into that, which would skew the average. But overall, the things that matter are consistent. So for example, the gross margins, we realize the gross margins have remained healthy over the years, firmly above 45% for the entire period. And the highlight for the the half year ended 2023, in other words, the 6 months, they're showing gross margins of 53.4%, which is significant. It's showing that the company is getting good spread on their products. So if they buy the product for $1, they'd be selling it for $1.53 on average. In terms of the cost to income ratio, the cost to income ratio is trending downward firmly from 2020, come straight down to 2022. And year to date, the company is at 31.28%. So the question is, how much revenue is a company converting to profit? And we want the cost to income ratio to be low. It's also known as the efficiency ratio. So the lower this number is, the better it is for shareholders, because it means each dollar of revenue is being converted to profit. Now, in terms of the drivers of the growth, we're seeing where the company is still benefiting from post-pandemic recovery, which is carrying demand. There's strong demand for sleek notebooks, which the company manufactures through recent acquisition in the last 2 or 3 financial years, I think, where the company acquired the company Seek that manufactures the notebooks that we all know as Jamaicans. So there's also a new product line called Evolve that is being distributed by SOS, and it is a major sales driver. There is increased storage capacity in the last few years, and this is contextualized by CapEx totaling 104.6 million between 2022 and 2020. However, for the half-year period, the company deployed another 47 million, and this has a lot to do with the expanded fleet and storage space. So the company is not only increasing its sales, but it's increasing its capacity, which means that sales down the road can have a higher potential pretty much, because the quantity can now be greater for the company. In terms of further growth drivers, the company reported that the boom in tourism in the mobile market is another driver. And also there's a boom in call centers. Pretty much the BPO industry has a high demand for stationery and furniture, which are 2 main products that SOS carries. And additionally, in terms of the future, the company has a relationship with 3M Company, a major stationery and industrial product manufacturer. So these are new product lines that will cause the company to be more diverse in terms of what it sells in Jamaica and in other territories. In terms of the stock itself, the stock took a 9-to-1 split, which took effect in August 2nd, 2023. And in terms of the trading levels, the price, let me zoom in here. The price is now at $1.82 on a year-to-date basis, and I did this on a split-adjusted basis. So I took the December 31st price and divided it by 9 to ensure that we're comparing apples to apples. So this is a split-adjusted statistic. So the stock would be down 3.2% on a year-to-date basis if the split had happened at that time. From the 52-week high, the stock is down 53%, but it's up 29.1% off the 52-week low. So the stock has a lot of room to run in terms of momentum. The price is still attractive. Right now, the company is poised to make 18 cents in terms of the EPS for the year. And at a multiple of about 15 times, it would land the stock of $2.65. So if I was to do a rough calculation, I think that's where the stock deserves to trade. And the difference between $2.65 and the stock price currently, $1.82, is 45.8%. So what we're saying is that based on all these factors combined, we believe that the stock has the potential to move above 20% in the next year. But it depends on market conditions, of course, because if new offers come.
Yeah, because Jamaica market funny, even though it say it deserves to trade at 265, that don't mean it's gonna get there.
Right, it's a lot of moving parts, but just based on the fundamentals and where it is now, it definitely has room to run. And we're really just making a case for that based on the data.
What happened to your dog? Whose dog is that?
Not
Dog's
mine.
going crazy.
No, it's my dogs, and I'm not sure what's happening, but I closed the door and everything. I'm not sure. But I'm quiet now, though.
Nope. I just said that. Javon says SOS basically has a niche market, which means consistent supply to meet demands locally, regionally, and globally may be a good addition to one's portfolio. Roswell says SOS is an export of furniture. I like the way the company is looking to make profit by selling in other markets. And Elaine adding, let's see what the partnership in TNT and Cayman do to the numbers going forward. So yes, we also have to factor that in. They have, stuff going on there, room for growth in terms of what the company is doing. So good news for SOS overall. Julian, you're saying that despite the tumultuous economic environment, this company is doing well.
Absolutely. And one thing I didn't mention in the presentation is that the company tends to have a very low level of leverage. The debt to equity is relatively low because management is very averse to borrowing. It's one of those management teams that doesn't have a high debt appetite. And what that means is the company, on top of its performance, has low leverage, which means that the cost of borrowing would be lower because it's a company that is not as leveraged. So companies that borrow because they want to and they don't borrow because they have to, they tend to have more leverage when they are negotiating with institutions, so they can get a lower interest rate. And in an environment like this, when interest rates are on the rise, that's an advantage.
Absolutely. One final comment from Roswell, who noted that SOS has passed their $1 billion revenue mark, and that is significant.
Yes, for the half year, they're at 1.04 billion. It's a record for the company.
Yeah, because I was to point out they've gone past $1 billion in multiple years, but Julian pointed out just for the half year, we're seeing this record now. And they pointed out in their quarterly report that, in Q1, they had a record month. In Q2, another record month. And then in the back to school season now with the Seek brand of books. So it's would say an increased number of sales from that segment. And you're still seeing companies spend money, and they're looking to on the export side. And one point before I close off, the Caribbean is relatively insulated in the sense that we don't manufacture any products here in the region. So you have companies that are based here in Jamaica, which will supply products to the rest of the region and be the main distributor for the region. So, when the other large companies come here to the region looking to sell their products, one company in Jamaica, they say, I hand the rest of the region, and they just build out the niche markets in other regions, and sales continue into perpetuity.
So Philip says SOS is a secret tourism stock. I saw that too in the analysis with the reasons, the factors for the performance. But then he's also asking, so let me see if you have any insight, Julian. Why is the stock price being pressured then? So all is good news. What's going on at the stock price?
Well, I wouldn't say that situation is specific to SOS. I think it's more of a macro situation where the continuous increase in interest rates have caused institutional investors to not invest in both main and junior market stocks as much as they normally would have. So the stocks will trade differently because of that lack of institutional involvement. So that's number one. Number two, we know inflationary pressures have had an impact on sentiment, and this year hasn't been a good year as it relates to investments because many persons are down in their portfolios. Many persons are seeing negative returns or returns that are smaller than in previous periods. So that fact alone would also have an impact on sentiment. And as we know, investors buy sentiment. When they feel better, they invest more. When they feel worse, they invest less. So it has a lot to do with psychology. So between the interest rate dynamic, institutional participation, and also the shift in terms of investor behavior, because of what's going on a macro level, I think that many companies that are doing well aren't performing from a price standpoint as they would have maybe 3 years ago or so.
Something
Yeah.
else to add on to that is just that when the year started, Fawcett was the largest company in the junior market. The price has effectively halved, and they're now the fourth largest company on the junior market, with Lasca Manufacturing, seeing a slight increase in the stock price and reclaiming its number one spot. So it's not necessarily that SOS is having, these great results and nobody's looking at it, but people still exist in reality. What I mean by that? When you are going to the grocery or the supermarket and seeing your grocery bills going up, you have to spend more money there. There's less this discretionary income. When you're having to pay more on your mortgage or your car loan or whatever loan, there's discretionary income to put into the stock market. And some persons, just have to be selling stocks to get that liquidity, to take care of potentially bills, or just potentially looking to find other investments where their money is working for them. And you're even seeing in the main market whereby Massey, which is a Trinidadian company, not Jamaican, is one of the largest company in the JSE. And then NCB, which has seen its price have a relative increase since, Mr. Leachin's actions, is number 2 on the market, and you have Sagicor and so forth. So there's also a shift in observing the largest companies, which, are somewhat relatively down this year as well.
All right. Well, thanks for that insight, or for those insights, David and Julian. Always appreciated. We'll see you again soon.